Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Anastasia and Her Sisters by Carolyn Meyer. Anastasia and Her Sisters follows Grand Duchess Anastasia Romanov from ages 13 to 17 as she experiences the extravagant lifestyle of Russian nobility to the horrors of World War I. And the unrest that occurs in Russia that leads to revolution. Before I totally get going with this review, I did not know that Carolyn Meyer also wrote this book, The Royal Diaries, Anastasia. I picked this book up long ago, pretty much back when it was first published, when I was, in elementary school, I think. And elementary school is when I first developed my fascination with the last of the Romanov family and Grand Duchess Anastasia. And yeah, this Royal Diaries book is absolutely, it's children's literature. And so, like I said, I did not know that Carolyn Meyer also wrote this. And Carolyn Meyer basically wrote this, which it's pretty much the same thing as this, but this is supposed to be more of a young adult take. I hope that made sense. But to be perfectly honest, you guys, I was really disappointed with Anastasia and Her Sisters. I was looking forward to this book so much, but it was really just a rehash of the Royal Diaries book. Basically what I'm trying to say, I just felt like I was rereading the Royal Diaries book again. Just, in the Royal Diaries book, this is done in like diary format, and this book is not. And like I said, the Royal Diaries book was intended for children. And like I said, Anastasia and Her Sisters was intended to be for a young adult audience. The thing is, though, I still felt like Anastasia and Her Sisters was reading like a children's book, if that makes sense. I mean, there were a few occasions with young adult material and concepts, but not enough that satisfied me as a reader, because that's what I was looking forward to, it being a young adult book. I was looking forward to it exploring darker material and more adult concepts with Anastasia and her three sisters, but unfortunately it didn't do any of that. And I hate to say it, but I kind of found this book to be a bit bland and boring in places. Basically, what I wish Carolyn Meyer had done with this book, I wish she would have taken more historic liberties, if that makes sense. I wish she would have taken a bit more liberties with the history and spiced things up a bit, to appeal to a young adult audience, because I think that's where this book is kind of failing. I don't think it's necessarily appealing to a young adult audience. And in some ways, I kind of feel like this book was reading like a textbook, which you never want a book to read like, especially if it's based on historic events and people. Because that's what it often felt like in this book. It felt like I was going from event to event to event, and not really much filler in between all of the events. The only thing that Carolyn Meyer does that is interesting and unique in this book is that she develops a relationship between Anastasia and a young man named Gleb Botkin. And I believe, if I'm getting this correct, I hope I'm not getting this wrong, Gleb Botkin was the son of their family doctor. Hopefully I'm getting that right. So yeah, Carolyn Meyer does some interesting things there and gives Anastasia this relationship with Gleb Botkin, but it literally kind of occurs at the end of this book and kind of doesn't really go anywhere. And I found myself going, this is the historic liberties you should have been taking throughout this entire book and expanded upon this from start to finish. But instead, like I said, it happens near the end rather than kind of being something that occurs throughout the entire book. And I think that's all I have to say, unfortunately, about this book. If you guys have been watching my channel for a long time, you guys know that I love the Romanov family and that history and just their final days. It's just so depressing and interesting. And I was looking forward to this book so much. I was highly disappointed. I wouldn't really recommend it, especially if you have already read a lot of Romanov historical fiction. If you have not read Romanov historical fiction, this might be a nice place for you to start because it is really easy to get into, but yeah, you may find yourself a little bit bored. So that's it for my review on Anastasia and her sisters. Have you guys read this book? Do you plan on reading it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book review, you may like these other book reviews. Bye, guys.